why did Jesus speak in parables? You know, I mean, why didn't he just straight up say what he meant to say? I mean, he did do that, but why didn't he lay it out so simple that all of us could just easily grab it and understand it? He always spoke in parables. And in Matthew chapter 13, verse 11, the disciples had asked him why it was that he spoke in parables. And he answered and said, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. So it was given to the disciples to understand the mysteries of the kingdom. But to everyone else listening, it was not given. And this gets really confusing here in a second. For whosoever has, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. And whosoever has not, from him shall it be taken away, even that he has. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is to fulfill the prophecy of Esau, which saith, by hearing you shall hear, shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and not perceive. And the people's hearts grow wax. Now, let's go back to that confusing part. For whosoever has, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. For whosoever has what? Because we're talking about Jesus speaking in parables, and only the disciples are able to understand it because it is given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but not to them. So whoever has the knowledge of the mystery of the kingdom, has the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Christ within you. To them, you shall have more abundance. You'll have more of the Spirit of Christ. And the Lord has poured his blessings out upon all of us. You know, the Lord's Spirit is within everybody. But yet, if you don't worship Christ, if you don't understand the mysteries of godliness, a little bit he's give you, he's going to take away. You get what that says now? A little bit he's give you, he's going to take away and give unto those that are worshiping him by his name. But now, let's keep going. In chapter 13, in Matthew, verse 16, blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. He's talking about the disciples, because the disciples can see, and they can hear, and they can see the truth, and they can understand the truth. But see, that goes to another part. That goes to the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 23. And Jesus turned unto his disciples and said privately, blessed are the eyes which see the things that you see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which you see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, and have not heard them. Now see, what has been the desire of all the prophets and all the kings? To see God. To hear from God. To actually walk with God and to listen to God himself speaking to us. That's what all the prophets and the kings and all the noble people have ever wanted. That's what they've ever wanted. But see, if you go stick in book of Luke, chapter 10, and you go back up to verse 22, here's another one of them kind of confusing verses. And all things are delivered to me of my Father, and no man knows who the Son is but the Father, and who the Father is but the Son, and to he to whom the Son will reveal him. Has Jesus Christ revealed to you who he is? If you're starting to read this book and you're starting to see that Jesus is God, he's revealed that secret to you. Because it's a mystery of godliness, for 1 Timothy 3:16. Great without controversy is the mystery of godliness, for God was manifested in the flesh. If Jesus has revealed that to you, you are blessed. But let me go ahead and tell you now, you're going to anger a lot of people. Because the devil don't want nobody to know who Jesus is. Even religious folk cannot wrap their minds around how Jesus is God the Father. Because Jesus created all of us. Jesus is the image of the invisible God. That's Colossians 1:15 and 1:16. You know, so Jesus spoke in parables basically for like it is right now. You've got people that can care less about God. They just want to live their lives. You've got people that want to serve God, want to love God, and they go to churches and whatever that preacher teaches and whatever is all they believe. Whatever that preacher dude says is, that's good with me. That's all I need. And then you've got people that study their Bibles and read their Bibles and pray over their Bibles and try their best to walk with the Lord every day, knowing we fail. We fail. We all sin. But we try every day. There's a difference there. And then to those that study, seek and ye shall find, ask and ye shall receive, knock and it shall be opened unto you. For those that continuously study, he'll reveal his Spirit unto you. And when he does, and he moves, and Jesus moves in your heart, and you know that you're on the right path now. You know that you done met to Jesus now. You try to tell everybody, Jesus is God. God, Jesus is God. Because he moved in your life in such a way that you can't hide it no more. But then all the religious people will tell you, no, man, Jesus is not God. He cannot be God. Because Jesus sits by the right hand of the Father. Man, come on now. What did sitting by the right hand? What King David say? My Lord, sit here by my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Right? And Jesus is known as the Son of David, right? You know it's wrote in here that Jesus shall inherit the kingdom of David. All right? Did you know that in here there's a description of him that is sitting on the throne in the book of Revelation? So, the one I love to use is chapter 4 and chapter 1. In chapter 4, verse 8, there's a direct description of him that is sitting on the throne. Go back and read chapter 1, verse 8, and it's the same exact description of Jesus Christ. And then over in, I think it's 20 or Revelation 20 or 21, where Jesus is saying, well, whoever is sitting on the throne says they will call you their child, and they say that they are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. But if you go back to Revelation chapter 1, verse 8 or verse 11, Jesus says the exact same thing. Jesus is sitting on the throne in heaven, and it is spoken in parables because it's not to be laid straight out for you. You got to search to find it. But the problem is, when you find it, you run away from it because somebody says it ain't right. When somebody tells you that it's not right that you worship Christ, you're listening to the wrong one. Because they've put a name above the name of Christ. And like I've said before, you know, if Jesus is not God, the Father, he sure enough needs to be God, your Father. Because if he's not God, your Father, he ain't called you out of darkness. If he's not God, your Father, how's that go? He who has shall get more, but he who has not shall even lose that little bit that he has. Let Christ be your Father, and he will give you more of his Spirit. Don't be in those that do not have and are going to lose the little bit that they do have. And I hope you can see that, and I hope you can understand that. I hope you can see and understand how Jesus is who Jesus said he is. Remember, share your gospel. Share the gospel of Christ, the good news that God Almighty has come in the flesh to say, whosoever should call upon his name and shall worship him and put no name above his name. Have a blessed day.